All right, well, thanks for coming on a Drury Monday. Looks like we need a vote to approve the minutes that were on the back of the table. If anybody has that motion?
Move to approve.
Second.
Gotcha. Move it seconded. There's no other discussion. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Perfect. Jody Merritt update. I'm at. No, no, sure.
Oh, yes. So I was going to provide an update. So law enforcement agencies throughout Polk County participated in the National Family Violence Warrant Sweep. That occurred on Wednesday, October 15th. And so that included law enforcement, 10 agencies overall, 12 actually, because we did notify DHS as well as Sable House that we were going to be doing this sweep event. So we had Monmouth, Independence, Dallas, and Salem PD, as well as Grand Ronde Tribal, Polk County Sheriff's Office, Community Corrections, the District Attorney's Office, the Victims Assistance Office through the District Attorney's Office, as well as Polk County CARES, the crisis response. So we all worked together and pulled warrants for domestic violence as well as sex offenses that were in our system and had been in for a while. And the teams went out and were able to, looks like they, sorry, I'll wait for that. I always love that. There were 89 attempts to serve warrants. 6 warrants were actually served. There were 38 home visits done with probation officers. 16 of those were completed, so the individual was actually at the home. They were able to talk to them. And then they did 6 follow-ups on no contact DA release agreements. And then there were 4 new charges that came out of that sweep attempt. So overall, we had more than 30 officers as well as administrators involved in this process, in this program. This was a national sweep that was coordinated by Clackamas County, and they were supposed to provide us with national stats, and I have yet to see those. So I did email and ask. They said that they were still compiling them. I think, what was that, last week or the week before? So I have yet to see what the national stats were, but but those were Polk County stats. And there's one comment as well, and Salem PD was also working sweeps in Marion County with that team as well. So they provided us with officers for Polk County, and then they were doing their own piece on the other side too. So they were doing double duty. So I just thought I'd throw that out there. The sheriff put, there was a joint media release, I believe, that was on the sheriff's Facebook page. And so that was well written, put together very nicely. So yeah.
Good, I think. Any other agencies that were there have any like aha things or? Sure, questions?
And no agenda here. I'm just asking for background and context. 6 served out of 89. Is that the normal and characteristic kind of ratio, or is there something strange going on?
They're kind of older warrants, because typically the folks that, are active, they get picked up. Because
So
they're
these are the ones that sit in the files.
yeah, it's kind of is generally the concept.
So you go there and people aren't living there anymore, that kind of thing? I
Yeah.
see.
Yeah.
Or they haven't lived there in years, that kind of
Yeah.
thing too.
And there was a great deal of research done on the front end to see if there was any additional addresses. So the 89 could have been multiple attempts for one person, that maybe they weren't there, but they, the officers knew that they lived there. So they circled back on him. So that would be a second attempt. And so the 89 is just the number of times they tried to contact for a specific. So, and sometimes they're not readily available. So we have to continue to search different locations or sneak back up. So.
But yeah, I know you're never going to bat 1,000 or anything close to it. I just wanted to get a feel for it because it's outside my wheelhouse.
Yeah.
For older warrants, that's probably
Yeah.
okay.
So, and I think that this is the first sweep that I think that I've been involved in since I've been here. So that's been about I don't even know how long ago that was, 8 years. And so this was one of the things that had just popped up, and as law enforcement, as our executive team, that we've talked about trying to get out and try and pick some of these up and work together. And some of that, from a probation standpoint, it was very beneficial because our officers were able to just jump in the car with an officer from whatever local police department, build relationships. They're able to communicate. Prior to COVID, we knew all the officers. They were on first name basis, and they were constantly talking. And then COVID happened, and everybody just kind of went disappeared. And so this was something that really got everybody back together and working together. And so Independence Monmouth obviously kind of overlapped a bit, but we even had Chief Banuelos out on a majority of the calls with the officers. And so that was something that was nice. It kind of multiple officers, multiple POs. So a lot of communication there, a lot of relationship building. So it's actually done fairly well.
Well, and a lot of showing the flag, which never hurts.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Matt?
You guys get out to Wallace Marine Park, or is there a plan to do something in there in the future?
I don't know if anyone ended up in the park part of
We
this
did.
violent sweep. I don't know.
No, my understanding is that the park was not involved in this sweep. I do know, I mean, Trevin may have more on that, but there's this particular team that goes in to Wallace Marine Park through Salem PD. And there is additional conversations on Wallace Marine Park that are occurring. But that was not part of this piece, no.
Okay. And Trevor, do you want to just talk about your 2 new homeless service?
Yeah, so,
While we're on the topic.
the council authorized at the beginning of October, for us to add 2 more homeless service team members, to the department. So currently we have 2 that are paid for through opioid funds, and their primary job is to go out with our SOS team, and I'm forgetting what that acronym stands for off the top of my head, but essentially that is a public works team that does cleanup of camps. So those officers are able to go out, make connections, contact people that are doing long-term camping, and post those camps, and then the crew with public works can come out and clean them up once they get vacated. They will take enforcement action. They will also connect people with services as necessary. So it really depends on who's in the camp, what they need to try and get them out of that situation. With that, it's only Monday. It's currently Monday through Thursday. And so obviously with the 72-hour window for posting a camp before you can clean it up, only have Monday through Thursday. It allows people to move, reestablish, things like that. So it's been a little bit problematic on that end. So with the 2 new people coming on, we hope to have 7-day-a-week coverage. We'll expand the cleanup crew as well. And that way we can kind of go after some of the problem locations all the time. We are testing for the 2 new positions Thursday, I believe, and we hope to have those people in place starting essentially Black Friday. So we'll be working through that as well. 4 officers dedicated to the home services team, and I don't know how many would be part of the city's cleanup service, but they should be operating all over the city, including Wallace Marine Park, and taking care of problems that pop up. Anybody that has issues with people camping in the city are directed to our website, where that list, when they enter a problem area, that gets filtered through Gretchen Bennett and is talked about, I believe, every Monday, and they filter that list to determine where we're going to go out and make contact. So.
Okay. Next on the agenda is just our meeting dates. Sam, did you see the email from Jennifer about adding them for the February meeting to talk about the new building
Okay.
and all those?
No, I did not get that. email.
It came in just a little before the meeting, so
Okay.
add that to the calendar.
Okay.
Now, department reports, community corrections.
Currently our juvenile department actually is status quo. They're amazing. Doing awesome in that aspect. Our community corrections, we are budgeted for 8 positions. We currently have 6. I am in the process of recruiting for 1. I believe we have interviews on Thursday. We do also anticipate a retirement coming up in March. And so that would put us back to 6. And at this point, we're not planning on recruiting for that due to the state budget uncertainty, which I'm sure most are dealing with. So we weren't fully funded. Well, I can't say it that way. Our cost study was not funded, but we were funded at service level, which are two separate things. Our funding that we were provided is operating off of a 2012 cost study, even though we just completed a cost study in 2024, and there was about a $3 per difference per day per head, which was about $68 million more that we should have received, but we did not. So our cost of providing service obviously is continuing to increase as everybody's. However, our funding is just remaining pretty stagnant. So it's impacting financials at that aspect. So overall, statewide, what we're seeing is there was a reduction of about 78, was the last I heard, positions across community corrections agencies statewide. And that was a variety. It could have been a victim services, it could have been a PO, it could have been just whatever is under the umbrella of community corrections. So for us, luckily, we have county funding that helps support us and helps provide for both funded and unfunded cases across the state. The Department of Corrections is pushing community corrections agencies to no longer support unfunded cases unless they have county support. Again, we have that, thankfully. So nothing has changed for us on that aspect. However, it does impact the cases that we have that do not live in Polk County. So if they live in Marion County, we used to be able to transfer those cases. Now they're not taking them. And so we're having to convert some of those to bench. So that does impact us in a variety of ways. So, but overall, we're managing.
And part of your reduction is the reduction that I get in the jail too, because some of that money helps cover costs. So I feel her loss too.
Yes, I do provide a portion of my funding to the sheriff for jail beds. So it is impacting both of us. So.
All right. Judge Hill?
So things at the court are pretty straightforward. The family treatment court is now up, fully running, and is exceeding our expectations by quite a bit. We had another graduation. I think we seem to be averaging about a graduation a month. These are kids, families that are being reunited that, quite frankly, probably we would be ultimately doing termination of parental rights and adoptions. And we've got people that are now long-term sobriety. Many cases they've got employment, kids are home, and these are cases that were very unlikely to have good outcomes. So it seems to be working really well. Our budget, we're in kind of a wait and see to see what happens with the legislature and what funds are going to crawl back. We've been asked to provide, just like every other state agency, 2.5% to 5% review. Our sense is we can still move enough pieces around to make things work operationally. If the cut is too deep, then I suspect that the Chief Justice will be starting to talk about furloughs, and closed court days, but we're still way too early to see that. My other pitch, it's become a tradition at this point, so I'm going to pitch it, is for law enforcement to please actually execute our warrants and not give people citations on active warrants. It's a problem. We had one in the last few months, was a level 9 burglary of an occupied dwelling with a firearm. And there was an indictment that came out that was responded to the citation, which is an invitation to come if you would please, and that's a problem for us. We have, in this county, we've made a priority to make sure that we have a working jail that does what a jail is supposed to do. And it's tough when law enforcement responds to a command to arrest somebody with a citation. And what happens is we end up chasing these people because they have police contact, they're not arrested, the citation, they fail to appear on the citation, we just churn those cases. Whereas we could get people involved, we could have the response that the community expects, and in many cases, give services to people so that we can correct the problem, but we have to actually get them to come to court. So that's my plea once again.
Has there been any movement on that grant that we talked about for security?
There is not, and I suspect, given the current budget.
Go away. Yeah, I assume so, but
But that's kind of where we're at.
okay. For the sheriff's office, our jail, we're humming right along. We're about 140 at any given time. A little less. Medical costs are still crazy. Working through taking an agreement with Salem Health to reduce some of the costs. We did get a new jail doctor provider. She's awesome. She's actually saved us money in a lot of cases where she's just done some kind of procedure inside the jail, where in the past, the other doctor wouldn't necessarily want to do that. So it's actually been really good. So staff really likes her too. So that helps. This month, couple weeks, we're going to be doing a retail theft operation in West Salem along Edgewater and Wallace Road. It's going to be over 9 days. We're going to be doing 6 of those days. Salem hopefully is doing the other 3 days or portion of the hours or, something. But just to give you an example, Safeway in West Salem last quarter lost $250,000 in theft. Ross last year lost 7% of their gross, which is about 2.8 million. The little Shell gas station across the street, I talked to her last week. She said they lose like 20 grand a month. I mean, that's crazy from a little tiny mini mart. So anyway, we're gonna have zero tolerance for those folks, and I think there is some organized retail criminal like organization type things that are happening based on what Safeway and Ross are saying.
Yeah, but numbers like that, you almost have to think so.
Yeah, or because, for instance, Safeway, the guy said, the manager, he used to work here in Dallas, so he has a good comparison on just different ways of doing business. And they get Tide Pods every morning delivered. So they fill the shelves every morning, and he goes, and this is like 10 a.m. We go over there and there's maybe half of what there should have been. He goes, this has happened today. That people come in just with Tide Pods, will come in with duffel bags, fill them up and walk out and get into a van and drive away. And so anyway, there's lots of stuff we're going to be doing down there. It's kind of out of control. So, but yeah, so that's all I got. District Attorney.
Let me start with the quick stuff and finish with a message. We are right now, in terms of our attorney staff, we are fully staffed. We had some turnover in terms of our non-attorney staff. Our victim advocate coordinator took a position in another state for personal reasons, not business reasons, but and that our front desk assistant, she took another position in the county. So we had good recruitment success, and I think we'll have one accepted offer, one of those positions, and the other we're waiting to hear. But I think we'll be again back to the full staff mark. Hopefully, that short period of time, feeling good about all of those places. Hate to lose good people, but that is life. And so, but feeling good about where we are staff wise. The retail theft situation, we're going to participate in a training for loss prevention officers with Salem PD and other other, public safety partners there, and there leading that. And so, we'll have, one of our deputy DAs participate in that. That's right. Doing that, this week. And say also, tomorrow, I'm going to be participating with the law school in a conversation about fentanyl policy, about drug policy in general. That one of the clubs is putting on there, so that'll be a good conversation with other public safety partners tomorrow in an hour. Again, back to the theft loss prevention issue. Good that the sheriff and Salem PD are doing the 2-week saturation, and there's always, I know, a commitment to defeating and stopping the loss prevention in all of our communities. I know that the West Salem area is particularly hard hit, but all of our merchants throughout Polk County deal with that issue. The message I want to get to everyone is that if you bring them to the Polk County Jail, put them in the process where we can prosecute, we'll prosecute them. That 3s, that 2s, I just took a quick cursory look last year, what we were able to do. With that 3 level, I know, especially total probation, it's not something that supervision can do at the theft 3 level, and sort of the theft 2 level is harder. We're going to prosecute them, and we're going to seek jail time. That's what we do. That's what we have been doing, and that's the message. I know that there's a lot of reasons that sometimes getting there, getting folks into custody, whatever, get them here, get them into the prosecution system. We will prosecute, and we will seek jail sentences for them, and we have. And that's the message. As all of you are talking to the merchants or wherever, the loss prevention folks, and that's the message we're going to get across this week. We will seek jail sentences, and we have, depending on the circumstances. One example, about a year ago, guy did a year for stealing some beer from our West Salem. There are other circumstances. If you dive deep into it, you've done it before, got some other stuff going on. That's an example. We take it seriously, and we do what we can on those situations. Bring them to us, we'll prosecute them. And our judges, we present the case, present the facts, they will hold them accountable. We are in court. So that's the message. I know it's tough. Economics are tough. It's tough to get loss prevention, folks. It's tough to get enough of all your folks there to respond, and for different reasons. But that's the message from my office.
Matt Jarvis.
Well, so we're all under a new contract now with the Office of Public Defense Counsel. Their solution, so what they've done is they switched to DAS, figuring out how many cases we're going to get.
Yeah.
And so they decided to drop the county by 1.5. So essentially it's about 1.5 less attorneys for government cases. It infuriated me, especially when I learned they didn't even talk to the person prosecuting cases. So
Why would they?
yeah, it's just like, we're gonna get a number, we're not gonna talk to everybody. So right now, the way the contract still works, the only thing that I think makes sense is PCRP. Everything else, the adult criminals nuts. So I think we'll be fine for like the first year. It's gonna be where we're at after that first year, the 2-year contract.
Great.
Yep. But other than that, I think we agree with the judge. And, bring them into the jail.
So Matt, what's the limitation? How many cases can one defense attorney have at a time?
Depends on what they're doing. So 1.0 MAC is supposed to be 600 misdemeanors, 300 felonies. It's only 6 Jessica laws, and it's only 12 Measure 11. So you could conceivably have an attorney that only does Measure 11, does 12 of them in like the first 6 months, and then they'd be done for their 2-year contract.
Wow.
But
No more added as they drop them. They can't pick up any more that they get. That's for 2 years.
you can switch it so you're then being paid hourly, but it's a backwards system. I think they're doing it on purpose. But
Never started.
Board of Commissioners.
I just want to say thanks to everybody involved in arresting, prosecuting, defending, locking them up and following them afterwards. We've been working, AOC is working hard on criminal justice section of it, trying to find common sense to make it all work. It's really frustrating. I'm glad I'll point out that the city of Salem Police Department got a win last week. They caught a guy busting into the West Salem Ace Hardware. And they had $10,000 of stuff bagged up, ready to haul out. And right now he's sitting across the street. He's one of our guests. Yeah, and I think you're proud.
Thank you, those guys.
Thank you very much. And from what I hear, he's going to be going to the state to settle in for quite a while, hopefully. But thanks for efforts. Other than that, it's all good.
Have any health and human services people here?
Jennifer's online.
For you.
Hi, Jennifer.
Trying to get on mute here, sorry. Well, we have quite a bit going on right now. We had our grand opening for our CARES building on the 30th of September, and that went really well. The CARES building, which you probably have seen if you've driven by, it houses our BURN program, which is Behavioral Health Resource Network, our peer support program, and our crisis program. So each of those programs operates out of there. Crisis has a separate entrance than the BURN entrance. So when people are in crisis or really upset, they just go to our crisis door rather than having to walk into the main part of the building. We're a little bit short on staff. We've had 2 people out for extended leave and we're 2 people down. So that's 4 that we're missing. So we'll be sending a recruitment out in the next few weeks, I believe, for QMHP and a QMHA. And we have a couple people coming back. So that will be really nice to be more fully staffed. Mark Davis joined our team. I think a lot of you know Mark. He was a SUDS supervisor for a very long time. So he is over here on the crisis side now, providing crisis services and with specific focus on people with substance use issues. And he hasn't been here very long and he's been amazing. So, I mean, he's gotten people into detox, into residential, and that's not typical of crisis doing that work. So that's really great. Doug has a new role as well. He's our community response manager. So you'll see some changes in there. We'll come in February. I guess we've been approved to do that, to talk about the things that Crisis is doing, and basically anybody in the CARES building, we work really closely together, but give you an overview of what it is, what it's about, what you can expect, etc. We're still kind of getting our feet under us over here. Adept. So the CIT Advanced Training Adept, we're going to be hosting it March 11th through the 13th. I think they'll send out the information probably the beginning of the year, but I just wanted to give you all a heads up. You have to have had the prior CIT 40-hour training. It will be held at EOC and it's 2.5 days. So that is coming up. And the last thing is we're waiting to hear about some funding for CISM training. So we had applied for enough funding for 3 CISM trainings to be provided next year to Polk, Marion, and maybe Yamhill, but we'll see. We'll see how many people we get. Up to 25 people each. So that would give us a total of 75 people being able to be trained in CISM, first responders trained. So I feel like that's pretty good, actually. So I think that's all we have today.
Sure. What about the Dallas PD?
All we have, really is, we hired a second command, Lieutenant Stephen McCartney started October 24th. Right now he has just overwhelming amount of stuff to try to learn and go through some field training because he comes from outside of our agency, but hopefully I'll get him around to meet folks in the next month sometime. Big breath.
There's nobody from Monmouth. All right. Independence, Chief Benuelos.
Good afternoon. For us, it's the priority has been hiring. I've got one officer that just went solo this weekend, and I've got a lateral starting in about 2 weeks. The solo officer puts us at 14 fully operational officers. The lateral will take a couple of months of field training before they're ready to go solo. So looking at second week of January before I have 15, and we're still in process of hiring or going through our hiring process for our 16th officer. So that's where we are.
Did he lose a bet? Is that why he's wearing a fire shirt?
Today is my running day, so very clearly marked. Everybody loves a firefighter. Less likely to get.
Love it.
Salem PD.
Yeah, so quite a bit is going on, and like I said, covered, we're gonna do an LPO training between the two counties, get everybody on board. We've had some grant funding for organized retail theft. So that's involved being able to get detectives out on overtime, either working targeted enforcement operations and or to do kind of follow-up on people that they haven't been able to go get. And so working towards that, and then put on this training, and then appreciate the partnerships on both sides of the river, and working with the sheriff and his deputies to get out there in West Salem and make sure we're doing that. We worked with, again, I think last week, 2 weeks ago, with OSP and the sheriff and his office to do some targeted enforcement both on the bridge and out on 22. I think the high speed was 87. So I think there was about 100 stops between the two locations, with citations issued, some DWS, so driving while suspended, and then I think one arrest was made out of that as well. So we continue to find locations to do targeted traffic enforcement as well. And then, yeah, just kind of, as we talked about all the arrests and things going on, I think as of August, when we last pulled some statistics, we had made about 300 arrests, and only 32 of them were cite and release. So only about 10% are looking at cite and release. Almost everybody else is going to jail and spending time there. So I think we're working well within the system. I'm not quite sure what a few months ago, what that technical term is, but we are continuing to have officers on duty in West Salem and making arrests and taking people to jail. We really appreciate the coordination between everybody to ensure that happens. So, yeah, any other? All we got for Salem.
Let's do OSP.
Afternoon. The biggest issue for us right now still remains to be staffing. Most shifts we're running 2 troopers on for the Salem Area Command. I do have a trooper, typically 1 on up in McMinnville Area Command that it can drop down into Polk County. But at the end of the day, it's a staffing issue. Hoping we'll start seeing some relief here in just a few weeks, in the fact that the biggest issues on the staffing issue has to do with special assignments up in Portland as it relates to crowd control stuff, and troopers assigned to the academy to help get this pre-academy trained up. The good news out of that is once those guys get done, then along the lines of pre-academy, we got 5 individuals assigned to the Salem Area Command, Salem specifically, and 2 to the McMinnville. So we'll see an additional 7 bodies once they get trained up. Unfortunately for those 7, none of them are laterals, so it's going to take probably close to a full year before we start seeing that effect out on the road. But other than that, it's really just short-staffed at the moment.
Sounds good. City government, does somebody want to?
I got one thing, it's kind of peripheral, but it will have ripple effects around the county. We are well on the way, we're on schedule to completing our new public works building, which when it's done, we had a tour of it the other day. It's going to be nice when it looks like a skeleton right now, but it's supposed to come online in February, knock wood. But the import of that is that it'll have many more service bays than the old building had. And since we do fleet maintenance for a lot of other agencies and around the county, that will improve our ability to do that faster and higher and handle a greater volume of stuff. So we'll have ripple effects.
Anybody here from OIA?
Mike, I think, is online. Brendan.
And John Cummings is, I don't have a lot to report. We're waiting for budget concerns like every state agency. We have a new director, Mike Tessine. Been with us for a couple months, and our parole and probation office is fully staffed.
DHS.
Yes, so, our office is child welfare and that's self-sufficiency, and so with the changes in SNAP benefits, we've had all of our managers on site just to help support people who come in. And I'm happy to report things have been very smooth and going well. And so I think I don't think I have much more to report.
Liberty House.
Yeah, well, I was looking at the minutes, the last thing that I talked about a couple months ago was the OPEB, as everybody probably knows, that funding got restored for the next year, so that was helpful. It'll be interesting to see what happens in the following year, but that was a relief for the moment. We're, just trying to, our major metrics are trying to meet productivity, make sure we have appointments available for all of our law enforcement DHS folks to meet them, and also our timelines, make sure that we can get kids in quickly enough. So I did hear the past couple of weeks that Laurel had some concerns, so we're digging into that. So I would just say to anybody in law enforcement and DHS, if you're trying to get a kid in and you're not getting the service out of us, you need to call Marilyn. She is the chief of clinical operations. Immediately give her the specifics, and she will she'll make something happen. So anyway, we'll chase down those specifics. But so far, generally, we haven't had any complaints, I think, from your team. We're staffing cases pretty much every day at your shop. And so we've seen a lot. Weirdly, even though our staffing's down and our numbers are down, our productivity was actually fairly high last year. So but we did we had to do a bunch of restructuring and streamlining our administration just to keep up with some of the other budget cuts. So we're down 28% in our budget and 28% in our staff. So still trying to keep up that productivity. And the current entity to whom I'm writing letters is Specific Source, because they canceled they want to cancel our contract and reduce our funding by 85%. So we're in conversations.
Can you share? I don't know what's.
Specific Source is the coordinated
Okay.
care organization.
Okay. Specific Source.
Marion and Polk counties, and they've been in the news. They lost I don't know how many millions of dollars the last several years. And so they're in budget crisis, and I think that has more to do with just the healthcare costs generally that have all health providers gasping for air. We have a negotiated contract rate with them that we put in place 10 years ago pursuant to a statute that I helped get passed. And that rate is slightly higher than fee for service, and it recognizes that the Liberty House appointments are not like sore throat and ear infection appointments. And they want to cancel that. So we're in, they wrote us a letter and we wrote them a letter. So we'll see how that goes.
That's the Pacific Source that runs all those PSAs on PBS.
Right, about how they want to help the community.
Yeah,
Right.
Yeah, that's what I thought you were talking about.
Yeah. So, it's possible that I might need to call on, for letters of support and stuff like that. Anyway, it is what it is, and we're, as always, really grateful for the JRI allocation, really grateful for the MPT allocation. So, want to be as good a partner as we can.
Thank you. And Sable House.
Yes, hi, good afternoon. Sable House did see a little bit of fund reductions in some of their grants, but not as much as we anticipated. So we were able to keep staffing levels at the current level right now. So thankfully, we didn't have to do any layoffs that we thought we might have to do. We did have some staff turnover, so we're currently hiring for a shelter advocate and a housing case manager at this time. So we've put announcements out, and so we're currently recruiting for those positions. But we've maintained our service levels. We're busy. We just did some annual reports, and last fiscal year, we served 880 clients, unduplicated clients for the years that called our hotline. They got all the different services in relations to our services. So it was shelter, it was providing assistance to get restraining orders or protection orders, legal advocacy, housing assistance, rental assistance. So the myriad of services that we receive. So if you know anybody who would like to work in victim services with us, we have some openings, so send them our way. Thank you.
Thank you. There's nothing else on the agenda, but I always feel bad because you don't ever talk. So do you have any questions of the group or?
I don't think that anyone who knows me would ever believe what you just said right now, but I am Jessica. I'm a community member. I work at ODOT. And we too have budget issues, as everyone knows, but I don't think that's gonna affect anybody in this room in the way that I'm serving. I know it will affect the county. I'm not your person though. I'm working on a different side, but I really enjoy hearing everyone's updates and learning all the different things. But I don't really have an update. I'll work on an update next time.
I just want to give you a voice.
Yes, thank you. Thank you.
Anybody have anything else? Otherwise, we're done. All right, cool. Thanks.